a little bit.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. So, would you like to introduce
right, of
yourself
course.
while you're running?
So my name's Christopher Neudorf. I'm the NDP candidate for Bruce Gray Owen Sound. And I am running because I believe that we need radical new solutions to a really rapidly changing times. We need a new tax code. We need a Green New Deal. We need to put money back in people's pockets, and we need to wrangle the corporations under control. And we've got to do this now. We cannot keep delaying.
Great. And
Sorry, I had to scratch my nose.
what are the top issues that you would like to see
Thank you so much. Thank you.
the government or whoever gets elected to speak out at Ottawa?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Okay, so people will be voting for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then whoever wins, say Alex Ruff, is going to be looking at that, and it's like these people want to get some policies out in Ottawa.
Thank you.
Which are your top policies that you would like to see spoken for?
Biggest one I want is tax reform. We lose $39 billion every year just to tax loopholes. And in addition to that, if we were to marginally increase taxes for the ultra wealthy, we're talking a 1% increase in taxes, people making $1.4 million a year, 3% when you're a billionaire. It's not that much if you have that much cash. That's $94 billion over 4 years. Imagine what we can do with that. We can rebuild our infrastructure, and in the process of rebuilding it, we can put it directly into people's pockets, working good jobs, which forces the private market to raise their wages in competition. This is a rising tide that floats all ships. And in the process, we can build an east-west energy grid which lets us move to clean energy. What I'd like to see beyond that would be high-speed rail from Windsor to Montreal, which would again create millions of construction jobs and would be able to reduce our carbon footprint with respect to automobiles by 50%. This is the kind of public infrastructure I want. I want the money taken back from the rich, given to working Canadians in the efforts to make a better country. You can fix things and build things.
So on that topic, what about a cross-Canada canal system? I know maybe I didn't explain it before, but basically there's the Fraser Basin that goes from Vancouver to Alberta, and from Alberta you can take the Nelson Basin all the way to the Lake Winnipeg, which goes to the Rainy River, and then it goes to Lake Superior. And so everything can be connected, and we could do everything by water, which is the most efficient means of transportation. Would you support that?
So you mentioned this in our initial interview, and I must admit I haven't had a chance to read the proposal. I think it's a really cool one. I always want to know a little more before I support, but what you're talking about is green infrastructure, so I'm already loving it. What we have to make sure is the land is suitable. That'd be my first concern, because you dig in the wrong place, you can cause serious ecological disasters. And for a project that size, we're going to have to work with our Indigenous community as well in consultation with them. So that would be an inter-provincial, band, and federal level project, so it would be quite massive. I like the sound of it. I'd have to study it more, but unless there's something horrible about it, I like the sound of it.
It's all federal waterways, and the waterway's already there. I think you'd only need to add 50 kilometers or less. But anyways, next topic. So how about, one of the things that was brought up was about crime and addressing those issues and addictions. And science and history shows that that's mostly caused by overcrowding, forcing people into cities. And so would you support a human right to land or some kind of program to help young people get farms so they can grow food for themselves and things?
I think insofar as the land is sustainable, ultimately, while we have a massive amount of land in this country, there's only a small portion of it that is actually suitable for what we're talking about relative to the overall size. So this is one of those, I think last time I compared it to kind of a homesteading act. And outside of the implicit genocidal aspects of the homesteading acts of the 1860s, this homesteading act, I think, has a lot of fruit that it could bear. I think it's a cool idea. It's something, again, I'd have to study more, but I certainly like the idea. That being said, I do think that the solution for our addictions crisis is not to move away from cities, because that's just not a sustainable system for a country of our size. It has to be a multifaceted approach, which would also include investment in early intervention, mental health health insurance, free access to rehabilitation, and as I was talking about in our debate, it would be important to create subsidies to encourage businesses to hire recovering addicts for the dignity of work. There's a lot of steps to it, but I think it's a cool idea.
Right. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to clarify that, right now 89% of the land is being kept by the government for a few big corporations, and then 40% of the land that's privately owned is actually owned by big corporations.
Yes.
And so, like land protection acts, like they have in PEI, limit how much hoarding is
Yes.
allowed.
And I'm glad you
That's what I
mentioned
meant.
that,
Yeah.
because part of our policy is to protect 100% of suitable land for development for development of non-market products, because we want to stop corporate landlords from buying up that property. Now, there's different ways we can use it. We're also suggesting making 100,000 units that are strictly rent controlled for the government to begin to mitigate some of the rental crisis. But if you want a party that's going to protect that land and stop selling it to corporations, it is the NDP.
Okay. And closing remarks?
What I'm ultimately in favor for is a tax code that is fair and puts average Canadians first. I am tired of the government's constantly placating the ultra-rich at the expense of the rest of us. I want to see investment back in our community. I want to see radical solutions to these emerging problems we have, and I think it takes boldness to do it, and I think it takes a restructuring that puts workers and average Canadians and the Canadians who are the most vulnerable, low-income Canadians and disabled Canadians and senior Canadians and kids first. And you can't do that if your biggest concern is another tax cut for the wealthy.
So, would you like to tell people to vote for you?
Oh, I would actually. Thank you. So, please vote Christopher Neudorf and the New Democratic Party. Thank you.